Hey guys, welcome back to a Monster Hunter Rise video. Today we're doing the best way to farm talisman melding materials in the game as of the update 2.1 that came out recently. So before, the best method used to be doing Narwa, the Elder Dragon, right? You can do Narwa and you can get a bunch of materials. Now, there are like maybe a few new methods since then. Obviously, the Rampage with Apex Diablos seems to be an option that could be out there. Teostra is one that a few people are attempting to try and using. I also decided to use Bazelgeuse in this experiment as well. So I used those 4 different quests: Narwa, Bazelgeuse, Teostra, and Apex Diablos Rampage, and I kind of wrote down how long it took, the amount of value in terms of melding pot value for all the items that I got from each quest that I picked up, that I got as quest rewards, every single item that I got from the rewards as a quest, and then I used that information to figure out which is the best quest to get the most amount of wisp meldings from the melding pot. So if I start off at the Apex Diablos Rampage, now this is one where you get a ton of items at the end of. It's insane. It takes like maybe like 16 to like 22 minutes depending on the group that you're with. In my case, I measured this on an average of 18 minutes. And the main item that you're going to be receiving here that gives you a huge amount of value is the Defender tickets that says 8 and the Defender tickets that says 7. Now you usually get between like 7 to 10 of these at the end of a Rampage. And overall, if you count the entire value of all the items that I got from all the different monsters, because you get items from all the different monsters that you face in the Rampage, it's kind of hard to actually find them out in the entire melding pot kind of menu. There's like 21 pages of it. It's insane. And I managed to get a total value of 2,370. For emphasis, to do one Wisp of Mystery melding costs 750 points in terms of value. So with the Rampage Apex Diablos, you can get 3.16 Wisp meldings every single time you do a Rampage for those 18 minutes. In terms of Teostra, Teostra took me 13 minutes to complete. My first time was not 13 minutes though, it was like more like 20 minutes. So it really depends on your time here. I think a lot of people have better armor and stuff and have a better idea of how to fight the monsters now. So I'm assuming that 13 minutes should be a good average to work from, because our run wasn't actually like a good Zerg run. We were actually kind of bad, but like, average-ish. And the points that we got here total up to a 2,065, which gives us a total Wisp of Mystery meldings of 2.75. So you can see that is less than the 3.16. So if you're going just by quest, the Apex Diablos Rampage will be better. But in terms of time, 13 minutes for Teostra versus 18 minutes for Apex Diablos, the 13 minutes for Teostra will actually be better than that one. Moving on to another one that I thought might be interesting, this is Bazelgeuse, one of the new monsters that was announced secretly in the game. I was like, okay, cool, you can see a lot of these items there that like the first few pages with high values. The problem is most of those you actually don't get. So when I did the test here, I only managed to get a total points of 1,215 in 14 minutes, which gives me a total of 1.62 Wisp meldings, which is way less than the Teostra and Apex Diablos, which is basically almost half. It's basically almost half. Like, Bazelgeuse is definitely not farmable for materials. And then, out of curiosity, I decided to throw Narwa in there because Narwa was the old reigning champion. Now, Narwa, people can still do this within like 6 to 10 minutes. My run that I did here took me 9 minutes. I don't know, maybe we just did something wrong. It was just a weird group. 9 minutes is quite on the long end of that. But for this run, we managed to get 1,400 in terms of points. Now, this is 1.86 Wisp meldings. Now, that might seem terrible, right? You go like, oh my god, that's like Bazelgeuse, so it's kind of like useless. You're kind of looking at this list and you're like, Teostra is definitely your most, value for money right now. But that only depends if you can beat Teostra in around 13 to 12 minutes. If you're taking 20 minutes on Teostra, that's like too bad. That's terrible. You're better off doing the Apex Diablos, as long as you're doing Apex Diablos in under 20 minutes. So your Teostra has to be almost half the time of the Rampage and Apex Diablos to actually make it like very worthwhile. The problem is Narwa actually ends up being better than Teostra if you can beat Narwa under 8 minutes. If you can beat Narwa under 8 minutes, the value for the amount of time that you put in will be much more worth than the Teostra one. So what I actually did here is I took the amount of meldings that you can get with all the points, and I divided it by the amount of minutes that you spend kind of getting those points. So in terms of that, with these times, Teostra is at number 1 and Narwa is at a close second. If you can do Narwa in 7 minutes or 8 minutes, it's immediately way better than Teostra in 13 minutes. So if your Teostra is taking more than 15 minutes and your Narwa runs are less than 10 minutes, Narwa is what you should be doing. And honestly, I would actually say that you should still do the Narwa quest because it's going to be a lot easier. There's going to be a lot less people messing up and making mistakes and dying. Like in Teostra, I still see people dying all the time. You just see people just like fainted, explosion, fainted. It's like, okay, yeah, you guys keep dying, and then it makes the quest go a little bit longer. Whereas Narwa, you don't typically have that kind of issue. I guess people will slowly adjust to Teostra and the times will get better, but Narwa you can still kill really quickly. As long as you're doing it in under 8 minutes, Narwa is going to be the better option. Unless you're doing Teostra in under 13 minutes. If you can do Teostra at around 10 minutes, there's like nothing that can beat that. Teostra in 10 minutes is going to be the best. Narwa under like 8 minutes is going to be the best. So it really depends on how you feel about those two. Honestly, they're almost neck and neck. It just depends on the timing. I hope you guys found this information really helpful. It was actually interesting to actually see this. I honestly thought Teostra might actually be the better one until I realized that Narwa with the timing is actually kind of, my better one. I can actually do better with Narwa than I can with Teostra on average. So if you're trying to get your talismans and melding, this is the best way to go, guys. One of those two methods. It's up to you to pick. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and thank you so much for watching.